So before I begin this episode, just a small message that I like to convey. I don't know if this will reach Mr. Ravi Shastri, but something that I noticed, he was almost as if he was an MMA presenter, one of those WrestleMania presenters there at the toss. He said, "We are at the Big Apple, New York, in the blue corner, ready to give a punch. We have Rohit Sharma, and to counter punch, we have in the green corner, we have Babar Azam." That kind of enthusiasm, the kind of vibe that he sets for every India-Pakistan game, for every big game, that's why he's one of the best commentators. Yes, a lot of people think he's too rhetoric, but he's extremely insightful as well. And I just wanted to thank Ravi Shastri for making all these games the vibe so ebullient as always. And it was just nothing short of exceptional yesterday. The game was. Watch more to know about my thoughts on this special episode for an extremely special game that none of us will forget for a long period of time. Thanks so much. Enjoy watching. The stage was set for one of the biggest games in the history of sport, India versus Pakistan, and they did not fail to deliver. What a game, what a night, and it was worth every second of me staying up and watching this game, because I think the magnitude of fandom that this game pulls, it was just a sea of blue versus a sea of green, and a sea of blue triumphed courtesy and all in all team performance. It was absolute gold, and I must say it took something special from this team. The way they brought themselves back in the game, especially since 119. I think Hyderabad scored probably 2.5 times more than what was presented by India in the first innings. And that was not only because of the surface, but also because of sloppy batting, in all honesty. And as I progress with this review, hi, I'm Jasprit Krishnan. I'm the creator and host of the podcast Correct Static, which is powered by Wannabe, the world's first exclusive 360 degrees buyers only requirement listing portal. And to add on further to this game, I must say, I was glued to my TV screen, nothing else but because I knew those 2 overs of Jasprit Bumrah would come handy. And of course, the man, the myth, the legend now will be etched in the archives as one of the greatest bowlers, probably the greatest cricketer to ever grace the sporting forum. And it was just too good of a spell. And I remember writing a write-up at around 2 a.m. for Jasprit Bumrah, and I had tears in my eyes once India won that game. Sometimes when you score 119, what happens is, well, let's say you score a low total, 80 runs in 20 overs. In the dugout, immediately your morale is down. You have a very low score that you presented. How you're going to defend it, that's a question of its own. And your bowlers come out all demotivated. I've been there many times as a player as well. But I must say, the way Rohit Sharma marshaled his troops, I'm not going to give him a lot of credit. A lot of 50-50 decisions worked his way. A lot of gambles paid off. And sometimes the penny in the pond does all the luck for him. But I must say, you could just see that intent after the 10th over at the least, because, initially Pakistan looked solid, and I must say Shivam Dube dropping that catch brought out one of the most overhauling reactions from me. But I must say it was just that kind of a game yesterday. And for someone like me, who's glued to the TV screen, I must say there were instances where I switched off the TV out of nervousness. But India-Pakistan, it brings that kind of a vibe. The environment is set for that kind of a game. And without any further ado, I'm going to delve into a thorough analysis of this game that will forever be etched probably in the memories of millions and millions of fans, both India and Pakistanis. To begin, where it all started, you get into play. I thought Pakistan winning the toss will give them a huge upper hand. I posted an Instagram story saying it's going to be a low-scoring thriller, and if India crosses 130, it's going to be safe sailing for them. But 119, initially, it was a very topsy-turvy and a dibbly-dobbly, total on this surface, given the fact that it was, it was two-paced, in all honesty. It was much better than the other games, but you could see that the bounce, a few of them were keeping awkward off the bounce. You could see Mohammad Rizwan getting a few on his glove. You could see a few staying low, like Virat Kohli's delivery to get out. And, Kohli not performing against Pakistan, it's almost become unfathomable. But to further progress, I must say, the surface was better than the last few games at least. But I did feel still there was a little bit of, dibbly-dobbly bounce. And, it was a little towards the slower side towards the second half. And I think the Indian bowlers made no mistake to exploit, the surface's, behavior. And where do I begin? I'm stuck to find an entry point. But to start off precisely, I must say, the way the Indian bowlers, I'm going to go in the reverse order. And I must say, when you walked out there in the power play, I think the mindset was, let's just play defensive there, lads. I think Pakistan just said, Rizwan and Babar decided, we are just going to go out there And Rizwan said, I'll see out the innings, I'll play throughout the inning. Babar bhai, you're not in form. You go for it. You play your game. Just go for the runs, try to get runs quickly, stay on your feet quite quickly. And I think that was the plan, but it didn't pay off because, sometimes when you're too defensive, it sometimes puts a lot of pressure on you. Despite it being a low total, sometimes you feel you're not playing very well. It puts the shackles all over you. And to break out of that, it takes a lot of pressure to be broken. And I think that was very well exploited. A fantastic catch in the slips by Suryakumar Yadav. The Indian fielders all over Pakistan. And I must say, Pakistan started catching the ball once the sun was out. Before that, probably the most mediocre piece of fielding I've seen in my short span of analysing and watching the game. But nevertheless, the way the Indian bowlers bowl, I'm going to set aside at least 10 minutes of my show for that. But to begin, the way Miss Jasprit Bumrah bowled, man, oh God, I think goosebumps as I even talk about it, because I would place this Bumrah's bowling, bowling figures or probably his bowling stint on par with Virat Kohli's 82 in 2022. Probably the greatest innings played in T20 cricket, and probably one of the most well calculated, and probably the shot of the generation courtesy was, that shot of Harris Rauf was witnessed that night. But, it takes a special player to come out and defend 119 by mounting all that pressure. And I've got the scorecard with me. Jasprit Bumrah, 4 overs, 14 runs for 3 wickets. That is 3.5 runs an over. And that is considered a good, economy rate in Test cricket. And it was just a spectacular, spell and of execution. I must say, the plans, the way he executed it. And Irfan Pathan made a lot of sense, I felt, on air after the game. And he said, if any youngster out there wants to learn how to implement their plans to an unparalleled level of finesse, then you have to look at Jasprit Bumrah. Because he said versus Pakistan in that game in Ahmedabad, he said Abdullah Shafiq drove, Jasprit Bumrah for 4 wire covers. And then after that, for the next 9 overs, or how many ever deliveries that he bowled throughout that match, he did not give a single delivery that was full, because he knew it was drivable. He kept it on the length, and that is the kind of control you would expect. It's already bringing a lot of uncertainty as a batsman with that kind of an action. But to come out there and bowl like that, Jasprit Bumrah, you're a special player. The greatest pacer I've ever seen. I'm going to say that openly. He is the greatest that will ever be there in Indian cricket. Find me a better pacer. Zaheer Khan, Kapil Dev, Javagal Srinath, all comparisons. Ajit Agarkar, yes, they are all great bowlers with all due respect to them. Jasprit Bumrah is probably the best multifaceted bowler I've ever seen in my spectating time. And, to go on about the way India batted. Initially, before rain interrupted the game, Rohit Sharma plays that flamboyant 6-over square leg. And that gave me the impression, hang on, the toss is not going to be the deciding factor of this game. Nothing else, but because it hasn't seemed to have affected the surface. There's a little bit of moisture and there's also a little bit of dampness on the wicket. But after he played that shot, it gave me a little bit of confidence. But later I realized it was nothing else but because of the class of Rohit Sharma that ball found the fence. And after that, Virat Kohli played one of the most quintessential cover drives, dissecting the field perfectly. Followed that was a crash cut shot. I always defend Virat Kohli for his actions, for his batting, because he's the undisputed GOAT. But this time I felt it was a little rash of Virat. You just got the boundary, take the single. We understand that you want to be counter-attack, exploit the power play. You know the wicket is going to slow down a little bit. The spinners will come into play, who's just going to keep bowling an armour to you constantly. Exploited, great idea. But that ball just held off the surface, and then you just got a gist of it. You knew somewhat that the ball is going to just hold off the surface. It's going to come a little slower than you expect. And that's exactly what happened towards the next stages of the game. And I've got to reserve special time for this lad, Rishabh Pant. I have no idea what he's made of, but I can tell you this much. The lad has something in him that the others don't. He walking in at 1 down, a position that he hasn't played very often. He hasn't donned that hat as often. I remember seeing Rishabh Pant open and typing that this man will make a daunting good top order player. And I think they're just trying to capitalize on what they couldn't with MS Dhoni. Dhoni himself went down the order. Gautam Gambhir says it very often that had Dhoni batted at 3 or had Dhoni opened the innings, Dhoni would have reached heights that no one can even think of. But I think they're just trying to capitalize that with Rishabh Pant. And I'll not be surprised if Rishabh Pant captains the team in the next 2 years. If he goes on, he already did it versus South Africa. But it won't be a surprise if he takes over full-time captaincy for one of the formats, or at least for a lot of series like Hardik did in Rohit Sharma's absence, like Shikhar and Hardik did. I wouldn't be startled at all, because the man has got very, very good game awareness. And I saw it with his DRS. I saw that he's matured a lot more. He's calmed down a lot more. And as Ravi Shastri said, he's a special player. And to go on about my review, I must say, Rishabh Pant, the way he batted, I think he scored 42, if I'm not wrong. Yes, Rishabh Pant notched 42 of 31 deliveries. It wasn't the typical Pant innings where he'd go bang bang from ball one. He tried to take the aerial route. He tried on multiple occasions, failed, and realized that, okay, let me use the boundary dimensions to my advantage. Let me just take those doubles. Let me take those singles. The leg side being the shorter boundary for him. Rishabh Pant, a lot of people don't take this into account about Rishabh Pant. He's probably the best defender, the best defensive player in the Indian team. When you've got a very good attacking game, that means your defensive game or your orthodox game is very, very solid. It's very stable. And you could see that with Rishabh Pant as well. Solid defense, good shots through mid-wicket, good shots through covers. And my brother and I were completely on the floor when he attempted that scoop shot or the paddle sweep around on 3 occasions. And it landed only on the 5th occasion. And even the reverse sweep, it was the same case. But I must say, it was truly phenomenal what Pant showcased last night. Not only with the bat, but with the gloves as well. And even with his chirping, I must say, he kept the field active. In low-scoring thrillers, one of the most probably key or most poignant factors to be able to make an astonishing comeback in the game is to be active on the field. I always say this as a captain as well, that if you're not there in the game, if you're not active on the field, then there's a good chance that the opponent has a feeling that you're demotivated. You might not be demotivated. You might still want to be in the game. You're there, but unless and until you vocalize it, the batsman still feels he's on top. And I really liked what he did there. And Usman Khan was under a lot of pressure. He was nervous, visibly running down the track from the non-strikers and had no clue what he was doing. And Rishabh Pant constantly just putting in a word there, "Chalo Londo, ye ball out hone wala hai, ye ball jane wala hai andar." That just surmounted so much of pressure on him that it forced him to play the straighter one of a left-arm spinner down the leg side. One of the harder shots to play, especially of that kind of a bowler of Akshar Patel's nuancement. It was truly phenomenal to see what Rishabh Pant did last night. But coming on to the next move, that is a strategic masterclass from Rohit Sharma. Akshar Patel at number 4. I think he walked in at a similar position versus Pakistan in 2022 as well. And walking out there, I still remember, I think Virat Kohli ran him out. Sorry, he got run out, but I think it was Virat's fault then. I think Akshar got run out, and I thought this move was a horrible move when he was sent out. But then I realized Akshar Patel was given the license to just go out there and re-stabilize. Now, a captain sends out a cameo artist or sends out a player who can go out there and make runs in a quick time, because one, he's looking for those runs. He wants the intent, he wants that aggressiveness to be exuded. He wants someone out there who could take on the bowler and reinstigate the pressure on the opposition, reinstate the pressure on the opposition. But I must say, Akshar Patel going out there was a very good move. Pakistan tried bowling up. They tried to entice him into playing those shots, but Akshar was very happy just taking those singles and doubles. And whenever they went short, I saw that Akshar Patel capitalized. A very good booming cut and then a wonderful shot straight for a 6 over third man. So I think Akshar Patel played wonderfully for his 20 of 18. And given the fact that he got around, I think, 14 runs of just boundaries, that speaks. He did his role perfectly, in my opinion. That was a very good move. And I think Akshar Patel will be batting more often in this number. And Ravindra Jadeja, of course, we'll address him as we come to it. Surya Kumar Yadav let down once again, 7 of 8. He's not been in great form. He needs to rejuvenate the old Surya. He needs to come out and make the skies, gloom in Surya fashion. So I'm really hoping that he comes back to form. I saw a lot of technical errors yesterday. It wasn't the same Surya Kumar Yadav. After that first ball that he hit down the ground, you could see that his front leg was facing towards mid-on. When you're playing that shot, ideally, whenever you're playing a straight drive, only when you're playing an on drive, your head falls towards mid-on, your foot faces towards mid-on. But what the mistake I found was the foot was facing a little towards mid-off, It was facing towards mid-off. And he tried to on-drive it, but it went a little straight on because of the extra pace. I think that was the only error. I think his body balance wasn't falling on, the track as well as he would have liked for it. But you could definitely see that there was some struggles with the body weight transfer when he was holding the bat, when he usually has a very, very awkward stance. And I remember analyzing why he has, or dissecting why he has such an awkward stance. But the reason Surya Kumar Yadav is giving himself so much space between his legs is because he can then, versus the fast bowlers, he's able to go down and play the lap shot. He's able to put his back leg forward and play the scoop shot behind. So he's given himself all those shots. And versus the spinner, it's more close by, because you don't need to play such ritzy and fashionable shots versus the spinner. It's just going inside out, it's going straight. And for that inside out shot, you need your feet to be close. If it's wide apart, you cannot step out as easily. Your body weight will not fall, where you would like for it to. So I remember doing this analysis, and I was very, startled by how Surya was batting yesterday. No body weight transfer, and his head wasn't following the ball's direction, and probably that's why he got out as well to mid-off straight, chipping it over. And that brings me on to the next player, a huge letdown in my opinion. Yes, he's only faced around 11 deliveries to make 3 runs in this World Cup. Shivam Dube, I have no idea what went wrong for him after the IPL. Was it the pressure that got to him because he made it to the T20 World Cup squad? Was it the complacency that was eating him off that he made it to the World Cup squad? Or was it just that he's just crumbling under pressure? I think it's the third, because you could see that he dropped that catch and you knew that that wasn't Shivam Dube. He's been patrolling the fence for quite a while for CSK now, and definite retention in my opinion for Chennai Super Kings, but now it's all about international cricket. But he's been doing a great job, in all honesty. For him to drop that catch, already it's a high octane thriller. It's a big game, probably the biggest in cricket history. India versus Pakistan, probably after the Ashes, arguably. So I did feel that there was a lot of pressure on him, and I think Rohit Sharma and Rahul Dravid should just have a talk with the lad, and Dube cannot lose a spot in the squad, because irrespective of whether pundits consider him a good bowler or not, he's still a vital cog in the wheel, because he can come in and bowl 2 overs if Hardik Pandya goes for runs, if Mohammad Siraj goes for runs. Those 2 overs of Dube have to be camouflaged, and it has to be what you call the sneak overs in cricket. And I was very impressed with the way he's been bowling the nets. I saw a few clips. He's bowling quite well, but whether he'll be able to replicate the same in the match is what matters. And Ravindra Jadeja getting out for a golden duck, pushing the ball versus Mohammad Amir. What was the necessity? I'm still not able to understand. But I don't even want to talk about Arshdeep Singh's batting. To go to the wide line versus probably the greatest bowler in this lineup, Mohammad Amir, the best bowler, audacity personified. I think that takes another level of guts from Arshdeep Singh. I really like the intent that man possesses. 2 people in the squad, 3 people who keep their heart and their country on their sleeve and play. Mohammad Siraj, Virat Kohli and Arshdeep Singh. They play with that much passion. Hardik Pandya is a close foe. At least these are the lads who show it on the field. They'll do anything for their nation, and I think that's what sets them apart as probably future greats, and one is already a great and probably the best player there. Sachin Tendulkar fans will argue, but yes, that is just my opinion. Coming to the Pakistani bowling, I must say Nazeem Shah, 4 overs for 21 for 3 was brilliant. He was too good, was Nazeem Shah. Extremely saddening to see him cry after the game, but he was just a notch apart from the rest, was Nazeem Shah. Shaheen Shah Afridi, I felt, was a little, wavered with his lengths. He could have been a little more, he was a little dwindling towards the leg side, a little more towards the stumps. Then probably, there would have been more of a chance for them to get a few nicks and go back to the slips. Haris Rauf picked up a lot of wickets. Imad Wasim bowled well. Iftikhar bowled the camouflage over to the 2 left-handers. So overall, this bowling unit has done a fantastic job to restrict the team to 119 from 89 for 3 in 11 overs. You've done a great job. 30 runs for the next 7 wickets. So, and now to point out where Pakistan lost. I have to say this. Pakistan lost for me in 3 instances. 1, the number of extras that they bowled. Number 2, this probably, in my opinion, was the game-changing factor. They were a little too complacent towards the second stage. And when Mohammad Siraj and Arshdeep Singh were running hard, they took an extra run. The overthrows, the same thing that cost it versus USA, cost it here for Pakistan. A lot of dropped catches and the overthrows. I think that's where they lost the game. A lot of people will blame, XYZ individual for not picking up the catch, but, in those gloomy conditions, it's very hard to pouch it. But I don't see a single excuse for why you have to throw the ball when you have only 1 ball remaining, and then they cross over for 2. 119 has been attained. Now let's say I think they got 3 runs of the overthrow. Yeah, 3 runs, in total. Those 3 runs not there. Nazeem Shah, who has just pounded a boundary of the second last delivery to make it seem as if Arshdeep is going to make bowl a no ball and make it the all in all El Clasico kind of a thriller. Of course Arshdeep delivers, but yeah, had it come down to 3 runs of 1 delivery, it could have been Nazeem Shah's day. So I think that's what I'm trying to make the point here. I think Pakistan have been extremely complacent, carefree and careless, and also very, I think even mediocre or lackluster with regard to their fielding would be an understatement. They've been much worse than that. 5 to 7 notches or degrees worse than that. So they've really got to work on that. And I think that's something that Pakistan have really got to sort out. Their ground fielding, overthrows, knowing when to throw. India were at the hot spots, as the fielding coach said. They were there. Every time there was a throw coming and Surya Kumar Yadav would back up at mid-on. I still remember Akshar Patel go to deep mid-wicket. When our Jadeja throws, you'd have Virat Kohli backing up from there. So Virat Kohli throws, Jadeja backs up from there. Rishabh Pant is too good with the gloves. I'm not going to expand too much about that because he's just going to grow as a cricketer. And I'll have many more episodes to talk about the lad who's going to go places. But this is my honest opinion on them. Now coming on to the Pakistan batting and India's bowling. I've already touched upon it briefly. I'm going to just sum it up in a better manner now. Mohammad Rizwan, 31 of 44. At one stage, if I'm not mistaken, it was 51 or 51 of 57 or 51 of 55, I'm not too sure. And if at that stage, you could see Mohammad Rizwan slowly telling himself, okay, it's less than a run a ball. Okay, now let me just take those singles around the corner. Let me find those specks, in the ground where no one has kept a fielder. So I think that is where Mohammad Rizwan in Pakistan lost the game. Complacency and careless cricket. It's something that Wasim Akram and Waqar Younis slammed him for after the game. I felt, one, was that shot needed of Jasprit Bumrah? In all honesty, let us all be honest. Yes, Bumrah is probably up there with Anil Kumble and Ravichandran Ashwin, Virat Kohli, Sachin Tendulkar, numerous number of cricketers who are probably the greatest match winners for India and probably the best at it in the World Cricket Forum as well. But look at it this way, from an angle that, not many people might look at it from this lens. But, Jasprit Bumrah bowled a good delivery. It wasn't the best of Jasprit Bumrah. Why did you play that shot? Talking from a completely neutral perspective as a cricket fan, was that shot necessary? Did you have to heave across the line? Rizwan has always been a potent leg side player. I've never seen him play some, wow kind of strokes through the offside. I've never been awestruck by his offside strokes, but there was no need for that kind of an audacious stroke at that moment of the game. When you're at the top, just take it around the corner. You've got another capable batsman at the other end. Just keep taking it around. And I remember Waqar Younis on air, who makes a lot of sense, saying, अगर रिजवान आउट हो गया तो मैच पाकिस्तान को जीतने का चांसेस बहुत मुश्किल है. If Rizwan gets out, the chances for Pakistan to win becomes very less, and that's exactly what happened because they didn't have a lot of scope after that. Your next few batters who were there, Imad Wasim, 15 of 23. I remember seeing an interview of his saying, who should be the first all-rounder there in the Pakistan lineup? I should be there because I strike at a very good strike rate and I also pick up a lot of wickets. 15 of 23. There was no intent from Imad. Yes, Hardik Pandya, again, let me touch upon Hardik Pandya before I progress. Hardik Pandya bowled so beautifully, I must say. I think it was 4 overs 24 for 2. Yeah, 4 overs 24 for 2. What a spell from Hardik Pandya. In my opinion, had Hardik scored another 30 runs, the man of the match should have gone to Hardik. Had he made runs, of course, it would have been a different game scenario altogether. But the way he bowled, the execution of strategy, he's probably got the best short ball in this lineup. And, running in, bowling those cutters, taking pace off, then mixing the short one and the fuller one. The ball was skidding off a little bit towards the second half, despite it slowing down. Lot of startlements from the surface, but yes, it was not as much as the Ireland game, which was disappointing, subpar, probably negative rating out of 10. But I must say, the way Hardik Pandya bowled, he deserves a lot of credit. Rolled his fingers over the ball, pulled his non-bowling arm down with a little lower pressure so that the ball falls shorter. He finished a little late as well so that the ball lands there. And you could see that he's come a little closer to the crease because he knows he's got to nail it on the body. And it was just too good from Hardik. I was very, very impressed. And, he's one of those rare commodities in Indian cricket who performs for the country but not for the franchise. At least in this year, or else he always performs. I'm not going to draw any comparisons, but he's up there. Hardik Pandya, full-fledged at his best, he's up there. And, if you're still wondering which categories I'm talking about, probably one of the great all-rounders from India. And that brings me on to the next bowler. Arshdeep Singh, 4 overs, 31 for 1. Another very, very good spell from Arshdeep. Yes, at times he was dwindling towards the leg side, but, despite that, he stuck to his best. He knew that in the death overs, I can nail the Yorkers, I can bowl the wide Yorkers, I can come in and bowl, those cutters and, seam up deliveries, and that's exactly what he did. He nailed those Yorkers. Yes, 18 of 6 looks extremely far-fetched, but let me tell you, in this game, we have seen such unachievable tasks being achieved. KS Bharat hitting 7 of 1, no wide being or no ball being bowled by Avesh Khan, or whether it was even, for example, the Rishabh Pant, playing that wonderful knock at the Gabba. We have seen things that we can't imagine coming to life, and I think that is just another scenario of that happening because you could just see that Arshdeep Singh coming in, he knew that, this guy is just going to swing across the line, Shaheen Shah Afridi. I'm going to run in and just bowl 6 Yorkers. I'm going to stick to my strength. What is my strength? Yorkers, wide Yorkers, cutters. Stuck to that, bowled one of the most beautifully nailed and crafted last overs I've ever seen. And that brings me on to the next bowler, Mia Mohammad Siraj, 4 overs, 19 runs. Extremely crucial spell. These economies that I'm going to read out, of course, King, Lord, God, Jasprit Bumrah, Hardik Pandya bowled well. And of course, Arshdeep bowled wonderfully as well. But Mohammad Siraj bowling a very, very good 19th over. I think 18th over. He ran in, again, stuck to his plans. That's what I liked. Yes, he bowled a free no ball. It was a little expensive towards the second half of the over, but 3 overs for 10 runs, giving 9 of it. But again, what I liked was, again, he failed in the execution of a plan that has been predetermined. It's been premeditated that I'm going to run in and bowl this. So I think the bowling coach is doing a great job with death bowling execution plans, and I think a lot of credit has to go to Paras Bumrah. And of course, then Ravindra Jadeja, 2 overs, 10 runs, and 2 overs, 11 for 1 from Akshar Patel. Now, there's this term in cricket, at least in the under 14 and the under 16 levels, in the levels in Tamil Nadu, that disguise bowling. At least I use this term, disguise bowling. That is, I can bowl 4 overs of myself, or I can give 4 overs of XYZ. What I try to do is I disguise the spell. I bowl 2 of myself and 2 of the other bowler, and that was exactly what Rohit Sharma did. There was turn off the surface, there was a little bit of grip as well. It was really sticking off the surface, so I thought Jadeja would be the better option. But then he said, hang on, let me try an over of Akshar. It paid off. So he said, I'm still in a fix. I can't bowl 2 here and 2 here. I can't bowl 4 of him and then not bowl him. So he said 4 of Jadeja and not bowl 4 of Akshar. So he said, let me try 2 here. Let me get the ball to spin and let Akshar come and keep it flat from that end. And that was just too good. Surreal thinking from his end. And now coming on to Jasprit Bumrah. First review, I'm posting excess of 25 minutes. Of course, I've done it multiple times on Spotify. I've got a lot of feedback for it. And coming on to Jasprit Bumrah, I mean, very few bowlers in this world get as much credit as Jasprit Bumrah does. And I must tell you, I am someone, regardless of the result, would go on to say Jasprit Bumrah is the greatest Indian pacer, can go on to become the greatest pacer the world has ever seen. And, I'm again short of words. The spell that he bowled yesterday, it takes a special lad. It takes a very, very gifted, God-gifted player to come out there and bowl that kind of a spell. He bowls, the highlight for me was not his wicket-taking deliveries. It was not, those Yorkers that he nailed. It was not the wicket-taking delivery that was too good, but the wicket-taking deliveries that were too good. But it was a slow bouncer that he bowls in the penultimate over. I think it is the second delivery. That ball, that shows the amount of self-confidence that the man has in himself. He's running in with this action. The Yorker's more likely for you. Runs in, just does this. He just releases it so slowly. The fingers are very minimal. He's just done this. Release it like this. Bangs the surface. The player is left thinking it's a wide. Ball carries on to the keeper. So I was left absolutely awestruck, flummoxed. You could say anything you want there. Because it takes someone who has a lot of perspicacious, understanding of the game to come out there and bowl that kind of a delivery, because it's not easy to back yourself to bowl a slower bouncer, knowing that half of the boundary, had he played a little more towards above covers, you have the sweepers little fine, it's good. It could have gone for a boundary had it been angled correctly. Virat made a similar shot, last time was to Shaheen Shah Afridi. It was a high-risk delivery, nails it, and that's when I knew that this man is on top. And I remember telling my brother that, if there's any possibility now for India to win, it's all on Bumrah's penultimate over. And as always, Bumrah delivers. And it was nothing short of spectacular. There's not a lot of analysis that you can do. I think, ICC tried, at least the Star Sports panel tried extremely hard to try and analyze Bumrah's action. 2019 World Cup, 40 degrees release angle, 36 degrees now. He's come a little straighter. Good. But I think the skill, he's only going from strength to strength, as Rohit Sharma said. And he's just a player who you have to marvel when and you have to savor for a long, long time. Please take care of his workload, BCCI. And that's all I can say. But one of my longer reviews, but one that, I feel I was best at my spontaneity. And it's something that I really enjoyed doing, as I always say. But once again, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Crickstatic Season 4, powered by Wannaby. They've got everything covered, A to Z of real estate. You can go to their website, www.wannaby.in. They also have a very friendly user interface app called Wannaby app, where you can visit for any help. You can also reach out to their Instagram handle, Wannaby Official. And this is a wrap on one of my favorite episodes on a personal note. You can always let me know in my comment section what you felt of this episode. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day and a great night. Thank you.